Hey everybody, welcome back to the Apple and Orange line and to another Train Tuesday video. And today it's a special edition of the Apple and Orange line MPC Era Series. And I'm feeling a little blue today, gotta be honest, because we're going to take a look at my favorite diesel locomotive. And that's not just my favorite model railroad diesel locomotive, it's also my favorite real train locomotive. And what I'm talking about is the GP7. And when I was a kid, probably 10 or 12 years old, I had to have this GP7, this Grand Trunk and Western 8353 is the number on it. And it was at a model hobby store in Seattle at the University Village. I think it was Don's Hobbies, and I saw it, and it just the orange and blue. There was a cement company in my hometown that had cement mixers, and they had ads on the radio. And we used to drive around in my mom's car, and the radio would be on. And in the ads, there was this guy who said, "Look for the orange and blue, the big orange and blue cement mixers," and he, and so when I was a little kid driving around the car, I'd hear this guy saying, "Look for the big orange and blue cement mixers," and so I used to see them, and I'd say, "There's the big orange and blue." And then we were doing some work at our house, and the big orange and blue cement mixer came to my house, and it was like really cool. So I think the color kind of caught me, but also I think the GP7, it's kind of unique looking, if I dare say. It's a little bit funny looking, but that's, I think, what I like about it. And I showed recently my Milwaukee Road diesel, and it's got kind of a mean train locomotive, big tough train, and this one, it just looks kind of friendly. It almost looks like it could be one of Thomas's friends. And so, but it's amazing. There's a GP7 that runs by my house every week, once a week, on a short line, and it's 70 plus years old. The newest one is almost 70 years old. The oldest one's 75 or so, and it's just incredible. They're out working in revenue service. They're running tourist trains. They're running actual small short line railroads are using them. And the local railroad, they have a couple of them at least. And it's just so cool getting stuck in traffic at a railroad crossing as a GP7 is going back and forth across the road trying to do some switching and picking up or dropping off tank cars and stuff. It's just really cool. So we'll take a little closer look at the GP7 here, and both the real and the model railroad. But this is the MPC Era GP7 by Lionel. The Big Orange and Blue. The Grand Trunk Western Railroad Company is an American subsidiary of the Canadian National Railway operating in Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. Grand Trunk Western's routes are part of CN's Michigan division. Its primary main line between Chicago and Port Huron, Michigan, serves as a connection between railroad interchanges in Chicago and rail lines in eastern Canada and the northeastern United States. The railroad's extensive trackage in Detroit and across southern Michigan has made it an essential link for the automotive industry. The GP7 is a 4-axle diesel-electric locomotive built by General Motors Electromotive Division and General Motors Diesel between October 1949 and May 1954. Power was provided by an EMD 567B 16-cylinder engine which generated 1,500 horsepower. The GP7 was offered both with and without control cabs, and those built without control cabs were called a GP7B. 5 GP7Bs were built in 1953. The GP7 was the first EMD road locomotive to use a hood unit design instead of a car body design. This proved to be more efficient than the car body design, as the hood unit cost less to build and was cheaper and easier to maintain, and had much better front and rear visibility for switching. Of the 2,734 GP7s built, 2,620 were for American railroads, including the 5 GP7Bs, and 112 were built for Canadian railroads, and 2 were built for Mexican railroads. This was the first model in EMD's general purpose series of locomotives. My GP7, also known as a Jeep, is in need of new traction tires, as it's been residing in a box for the last 3.5 decades. But the Lionel MPC Era GP7 diesel, made by Lionel Model Products, part of the MPC Fun Group at General Mills, number 6-8353. It featured operating headlights, illuminated number plates, remote forward, neutral, and reverse, die-cast trucks and wheels, powerful pole-moor motor, self-centering couplers, and over 14 inches in length. First introduced during the post-war era, the Lionel GP7 is still available. If you look around your local train store, you can probably still find a new GP7 in the box. The current Lionel 2022 catalog features a number of other later GP series locomotives. Fresh from the factory, the real GP7 locomotive featured 40-inch diameter wheels. The wheelbase was 40 feet. The length overall was just under 56 feet. The width was just over 10 feet, and the height stood 15 feet tall. The locomotive weighs 246,000 pounds and carries 1,600 gallons of fuel. With an RPM range of 275 to 800, the V16 two-stroke diesel engine has a displacement of just over 9,000 cubic inches, or 148 liters. It has 16 cylinders, features independent air brakes, and dynamic brakes were optional. The maximum speed from 1,500 horsepower was 65 miles per hour. Hey everybody, thanks again for tuning into this special edition of the Apple and Orange Line Train Tuesday MPC Era video. And taking a look at the Grand Trunk 8353 Lionel MPC Era GP7. This was as a kid, I think this was my favorite diesel, and in real, I think it's my favorite diesel as well. And, you know, it's really funny. I was talking to my childhood neighbor, who was really the only other person I knew and still know who was into trains, or who's still into trains, much more so than me. And they are into HO, and they do have some O-scale and some G, and they got a lot of different trains. But they were just telling me recently that they bought a Grand Trunk GP7 in HO, and they always remembered running mine when we were kids, and they thought it was cool. And I think it's the same thing as, you know, whatever it was that attracted me to this train when I was, you know, when I was 10 or 12 years old. I don't know if it was the colors or just the kind of the different look about a GP7. Something about this locomotive is catching. And, you know, I say it doesn't have a lot of detail. It does. There's actually quite a bit of detail on here, but the it's just it is a cool locomotive, and I think the colors help. The GT, it's a very simple big GT on there and stuff. But anyway, so I appreciate you tuning in, and it was really cool to have my friend tell me that. Kind of validated the fact that I always thought this was a neat engine. And so anyway, I appreciate you tuning in to the Apple and Orange special MPC Era video on the Train Tuesday here. And if you like this video, please consider smashing the like button, and if you want to see more, please hit subscribe and you'll see more. And as always, you're welcome to leave a comment down below, and I'd love to hear from you and any thoughts you have about this video or the GP7. Feel free to leave it down below. I'd love to read your comments. So thanks again for tuning in the Apple and Orange Line. We'll be back next week with another Train Tuesday right here on the Apple and Orange Line.